Welcome to Tunnel Talk, a no facts, all feelings wrestling podcast. I'm Allie.
I'm Ann.
And I'm Leah.
And how has everybody's week been? Spake she expectantly.
Ann, I'll let you go first, actually.
Let Ann field this one. Yeah.
Well, Allie, today was better than yesterday because I didn't wake up in the middle of the night with a bat in my bedroom. So that was a big win for me.
Ann's little bat experience this week occupied the group chat for, I would say, hours on end. Hours and hours. Tell us about it.
Yeah.
Walk us through it.
Yeah, it was fun. So it was very cold here, and then it warmed up, and it was like stormy. So it sounded like the wind was quite loud outside, and so I kind of half woke up and was like, the wind sounds weird, but whatever, and like kind of went back to sleep. And then I woke up again. I was like, the wind sounds like really weird. Like, why does it kind of sound like there's something in here? And I turned on the light, and it turned out the reason was that there was something in there, and it was a bat, and it started flying around. It was in my bedroom, flying around at like head level in like small circles, trying to find a way out. And I don't usually like panic, and like I see a mouse, I don't scream, whatever. But a
surprise bat in the middle of the night will get you. I mean, there's no way around it. It's not when you want to experience a creature.
No, it's not. And not like kind of coming at your head, and you kind of don't know what to do.
They swoop.
Yeah. There's some swooping involved. So I'm freaking out and like shrieking. Like the dog is staring at me like, what's happening? I finally like realized like, because it's like, what do I do? I finally I open the door to my bedroom. Luckily this bat is like desperately looking for a way out. So it like flies right out of the room and into like the guest room. And so I slam the door of my room shut. And then I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm like, wait, I should shut the guest room door. So then I go out and shut the guest room door, and I shut my door, and it's like 5 a.m. So I'm like, well, I'll call animal control, I guess at 8, I don't know. So I tried to go back to sleep, which was not very successful. And anyway, call animal control, like get up, go downstairs. Like the bat does not, the guest room door is shut. The bat does not appear
safely
to be anywhere on the main
contained.
level. I'm like, great, it's stuck in the bedroom. Like the guy, animal control is going to come. We'll take care of this. So then I like let the dog out, whatever. And then I'm like, I'm going to use the bathroom in the downstairs bathroom, open the door. I'm like, like you're like reaching for your pants, and then you're like, shit, I like looked in the toilet. There was a bat in the toilet. I like shriek again, like race out, jump out of the room, like slam that door shut. And then I'm like, oh my God, like how did the bat get in there? Like, is it the same bat? Like and I'm like, it must be dead in the toilet, I guess. But then I like open the door to see, and then its little head just like kind of lifts up and looks at me in the toilet. Slam that shut. And
God.
Then I get like a towel to put like under the door frame, because now I'm Googling a lot about bats.
They can get anywhere.
Bats. They can get anywhere. They can crawl through the space of a dime, the internet told me. So,
the space of a dime?
Yes.
Wow.
They said a hole the size of the dime a bat can get in. So
that is explaining some stuff about bats I have encountered in the past. I'll tell you that. That is making sense. Space of a dime.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. Yeah, so so I put a little towel under the door, but then my desk is like right next to the door to the bathroom, like even to my house. So it was not like the most peaceful morning. I had a 9 a.m. work meeting where they heard a lot about it, and the pharmacists in that meeting were like, you have to get a rabies shot because bats' teeth are so small that they can bite you in your sleep and you wouldn't even know it or be able to see it, which is
Now, can I raise a question? Are bats more likely to have rabies, or is it just the tooth issue that is why we freak out about rabies with bats?
It might be some of each, but it like from what I saw online, it was like bats are like one of the biggest transmitters of rabies to humans. So,
and guys, you don't want to get rabies.
No, 100%.
You can listen to a great This American Life episode about it.
Yeah, the symptoms don't show up for months, so you have to like get post-exposure prophylactic treatment if you get the bat. So anyway, then I call a private company. The guy's like, it's in the toilet. He sounded very surprised, which I was, and I was like, I know, right?
Well, why did it go in there? What were you trying to achieve, buddy? Leave the house. Sir, you're not welcome. Simply leave the house.
If you want to drink, there's like a lot of dog bowls around the house and stuff, so I don't know what happened there. But at least it didn't seem to be able to get out of the toilet, because it did remain there for the remainder of its time with me until it was retrieved by a man who initially suggested flushing it. Which to me,
well, I guess if they can fit through a space the size of a now, I'm not suggesting that you should have flushed it. I think it's good that you didn't flush the bat, but that has made me think about it in a new light.
Yeah. I did have sympathy for one of our friends who suggested that maybe this man had a deal with the local plumber where like they send each other business. So he's like, yeah, flush the bat. And then call my friend Sonny.
Right. He'll deal with that issue. No problem. Oh God. But the man who came, he was very like an old country Kentucky guy, but he went in there without any equipment or gloves or anything and got the bat out of the toilet and into like a clear plastic jar to show me it was still alive.
And he wasn't worried about getting bit by a bat.
No, he was like, you only get rabies if they bite you. And it was like, well, barehanded, it seems like that's a risk.
I guess he assumed that the bat was limp from swimming for hours.
I mean, which I think was right, probably.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if he like grabbed it with his bare hand or if he used the jar, but there was no water in the jar, so I don't know.
I think he grabbed it. Unless he scooped it. He must have touched the bat. Oh. He certainly touched it.
Now, Anne, you showed the group chat a picture of the bat in the Tupperware. What did we, your dear friends, immediately do?
Yeah, so I'll explain the Tupperware thing. So basically, like, I called the health department who will test the bat for rabies, and if the bat does not have rabies, I don't have to get shot. So
and if the bat and they test the bat and then they release it to a farm, right? Yeah, where it lives out the rest of its happy bat life.
That is what I told you guys. Yes.
And that's I'm sure what you were told as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we transferred the living bat to a Tupperware container that the animal control man like poked holes in, and so it's on my counter for like an hour while I'm waiting for the health department to call me back. And I took a little video of it for the group chat, who were immediately like, "He's so cute, let's name him."
We love that. That's our little baby. That's your new son. That's your little baby bat son.
We loved him.
My enemy who tried to give me rabies from within the toilet.
He didn't mean to. He was just scared. And are we not all so often scared in this life?
He didn't have a good morning either.
He had a really bad morning.
He's just a little guy.
No.
He's just a little guy. He swooped because he's frightened, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the warm weather woke him up from his hibernation. He accidentally went down. The animal control man thinks he got in through the chimney and like got confused and crawled down. And so then he swooped a shrieking woman and then fell in a toilet. So it wasn't, and then he got taken to the health department to be rabies tested.
And now he's on a farm and he's alive. I wouldn't worry about that.
Wouldn't worry about it.
So we all had an exciting week. Of course, Anne had to live through it, but we got to read about it, which was better.
And we made quite a lot of memes about our
cornholed.
Stone Cole the Bat.
There was a lot of,
I'm so sorry. This is the best thing I've ever read, but I am sorry for your pain.
And is that not what a group chat is for? Sometimes you have to be the person experiencing the pain, but most of the time you're just reading about it and cornholing. That's how we sustain each other. That's how we give back to each other. You contributed to your community this week.
That's right. And you're welcome. It was my pleasure.
Thank you.
Not really.
It was my life.
I was so awake and alive yesterday. I've had this RSV like this whole week and not feeling good. But yesterday I felt great because I was like, I had enough adrenaline that I could have like run away from a lion. And then today, like the crash, like I felt so terrible in my body. I was like, well, this is the bat. What were we saying? The aftermath? The
aftermath.
We're kind of still workshopping.
Oh yeah, we went to afterbat. This is the afterbat. Oh my gosh. Well, Leah, can you top that?
You know what? I can't.
You can't. No bats this week?
No, the only creatures in my house that swooped me are the ones I specifically invited to live here. So
you invited them, you sustained them, you are their mother, just as Anne is mother to Cole, wherever he may be.
Cole the bat.
To Cole the bat.
Oh, and I handed him in his Tupperware to the woman at the lab. She said, "Oh," it's like. Well, you enjoy that.
They're always cuter when they're in Tupperware. That sounds psychopathic. I'm sorry I said that. I take it back.
I think that's right. I think that everybody's cuter when I keep them in their Tupperware.
I wish I could be in a little Tupperware. That is not... Okay, well, I think we got to get to the wrestling. So let's Copleopen this episode. Yes, Leah?
Should we do a little mini game where every segment we decide how they would handle it if a bat flew into
Oh my God. I really do encourage everybody to contribute those thoughts throughout the episode. That is a good suggestion. Okay. Well, we're starting with little Copleopen, as Tony Schiavone said. We're just going to quick talk about what's been going on with Adam Copeland. Now, did everybody know this but me? I thought that the Copleopen, I guess because the first time I saw it, he was opening. So I was like, okay, it's the Copleopen. He gets his microphone, does a little opening promo. He does a little opening match. I get it. Then the next time I saw it, he was not opening the show. He was the second thing in the show, but they still called it the Copleopen. I thought, that's funny. Good for them, though. This week on Dynamite, he main events, and they're like, time for the Copleopen. I said, it's literally the close. I believe what has gone wrong here. I missed the origin of the Copleopen, and it is an open challenge, not opening the show. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, that's fucking stupid. Mine is more, I think, instinctively what you would think was happening.
Yeah, and I've missed Rampage and Collision because of traveling and then being really sick this weekend. But he doesn't have a belt or anything, right? So what is the challenge for?
Fun.
That's
Okay.
yeah. He
to-
I think he's like establishing himself. He's like, I'm here to. I know. He said that he wants to fight as many people as possible so he can get back to Christian Cage. So I don't know if it's a rankings thing.
Maybe. You know, wouldn't it be funny if somebody, like, he has clout, he has built-in clout, right? So that's why he can do an open challenge, because he may benefit in the rankings, but other people presumably will like benefit from fighting him at all, or if they win. Wouldn't it be funny if somebody with no clout was just like, it's an open challenge. Anyone is welcome to come at me.
Come fight Matt Sydal, guys. But honestly, now that there are rankings, I feel like a Matt Sydal or a Ryan Nemeth could do great in an open challenge because everyone wants to boost their rating. So it's like, if you want to go out there and, job.
Well, Matt Sydal's been behaving like he has opened an open challenge because he's been wrestling
everywhere.
left and right when I haven't seen him in a year. I like the man, but it's been confusing.
Yeah.
So Adam Copeland wrestled Dante Martin on Collision and then Suzuki in the main event on Dynamite. So it's young violence, it's old violence, it's all violence. It's good violence.
Very from ages 9 to 99,
Everybody come get beaten up by me. You guys, how are you feeling about Adam Copeland? You still like this man?
Yeah.
He's bringing a good energy, He's like, he seems happy to be there, which is sometimes all I ask of these people.
To be honest, we can't say it often enough. Having a good attitude is the most important thing in the world. It is the thing most likely to endear you to us specifically. Just have a good attitude, some of you.
Did you guys see Ethan Page's whole thing about like, I love being on ROH and why wouldn't I be trying to make it the best place I can because I'm so happy to be here. I was just like, Ethan Page, you're great and I wish you were back on Dynamite.
That made me so happy. I loved that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a great attitude. Little
And
sweet baby.
With Adam Copeland, I really something was so endearing about the way he got the mic after the Suzuki match, and was like, that was the hardest I've ever been hit. I believed him.
Yeah, like welcome to Japan, buddy.
Yeah. Welcome to the murder grandpa.
That was quite sweet. But also, like, slightly, I'm not mad about it, but slightly confusing where I was like, wow, and you want to talk now? We're 6 minutes over, I think. Like, I think we're supposed to be out of here. But we have infinite overruns now, so everyone can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I know. It's like, it just seems wrong to me. An overrun should be special. You should have to work within the constraints of a time.
It feels like they're stealth adding a third hour. That's where we're getting to with the overruns. I'm not angry about it because I'm not DVRing it, Brian, but
we've constantly advocated for Tony to gaslight us. And honestly, this would be the best way he's ever added a third hour. As if he just every week he's like, it's an overrun. It's an overrun. And we're saying, Tony, it's 45 minutes and it's an overrun. Don't worry about it. It's an overrun.
It's like when you're teaching a toddler to swim and they're stressed out about getting in the water. He's like, it's only up to your knees. Oh, it's only up to your thighs. Oh, it's only up to your belly button.
Well, and honestly, the overruns used to be like 3 minutes and now they're like 15. So, I mean, mean, I think he might be doing
getting
it.
us. Guys, he's working us pretty good, I would say.
The main event doesn't start until 10:15 pretty soon, and then you're just...
Do you guys think that it's literally crazy that someone immediately recognized that the reused Christian backstage footage was from a previous episode of Dynamite?
Yeah.
Can you
So
imagine
quickly.
us recognizing something?
No.
Well, I guess if it were about someone we love.
a special
if it were
person.
about Dustin or the Young
Yeah.
Bucks, we'd
Yeah,
be
there
like,
was-
yeah, I know.
If it was Dustin or the Young Bucks, first of all, with Dustin, we'd be like, that facial hair is not current. And with the Young Bucks, we're like, those outfits, I know exactly what it was. But Christian, like, I don't think you could see really what he was wearing because the belt was in front of him. But I will give credit that Emmy in our group chat also noticed. Like, Emmy was like,
God bless.
I think that footage of Christian Cage is old, but I don't know who on the internet not only knew it was old, but was able to locate the screenshot from the episode it's from within 3 minutes of the episode ending.
Oh my God, I know.
It was on Drain Bamager so quickly.
I mean,
I
I do
know.
think, though, that the one thing wrestling has taught me that is that every wrestler is somebody's special little baby. Like, they have a
so
super
true.
fan out there, and that super fan was like, oh my God, I
Wow.
cannot believe they did this, and, like, had it
I
on tap.
recognized that Christian, I don't know, hair? Like, what do you think Christian's changing enough that you would notice?
They have been combing through clips, making fan cams. They have been screenshotting it, jiffing it. They know every moment that Christian has ever
I
been
have
on
to
the
say,
show.
you are. I did technically, I knew that, but right now, as you say it, you are expanding my mind. Every wrestler is somebody's son or daughter, but it's his fan, of
Yeah,
course,
a
like
fan.
us, not their parents. That is so true. Yeah, because actually, Emmy had Emmy noticed something about Hangman's match this week that I was like, oh my God, that was such a good catch. But to notice it about Christian as well. Emmy, I know Christian is not your son.
Yeah,
but
that's
yet your attention to
pretty
detail
special.
remains so acute.
Some people have better visual memories than I do, for sure.
Yeah,
So we'll
some
just
people have better
leave it at
memories
that.
in general than some of us.
Some of us.
Yeah, well, I think I like Adam Copeland. He can keep doing the Copleopen any time of the show, not just the opening match, because that's not what it refers to. Let's move on to talking about the title scene. So this
Wait a
week's
minute.
Dynamite. Oh,
So sorry. Can I say about the
Yeah.
bat? Oh, so I don't know how
Yes.
Adam Copeland would react to a bat in the house. But do you know that video of Barack Obama catching a fly and then just looking into the camera and being
Yeah.
like, that's Suzuki catching a bat that flew into
For sure.
his house.
He just smacked the bat down like in one swoop. Yeah,
One
that's
swoop.
absolutely
And then he
correct,
just
yeah.
looks at the camera and goes, did you see that?
oh my God. That's very right. I'm so sorry. I tried to cruise right past.
No,
you were ready. You
No,
were
no.
ready.
Thank you for letting me interrupt you because I had that image and had to say it.
That was
If you
beautiful.
had not said it, this episode would be worth nothing to me. Okay, this week's Dynamite opened with an in-ring promo from Samoa Joe, who was reiterating his desire to only fight men who've earned the privilege by making their case to a committee. We love it. We've seen no evidence of it thus far, but we love it. He was briefly interrupted by Hook, who came to the ring, embraced him, and then I think was just like, I'll get you next time, or like something a lot, and your little dog too. Was that the vibe that Hook was giving, maybe? And Joe was like, well, maybe so, but right now you're unfortunately going to have to leave the ring. So he hopped out of the ring and then was like, security, come get Hook. So then
guard sees him.
guard
moment
sees
for-
him, which I believe we have said we want to see from men before on this program. So good for him. And then Hook beat up the security guards. Can we just have a quick check-in? We've said it before. We'll say it again. It is heel behavior to beat up men who are simply doing their job. They are working men. But I want to raise another point. Who has the ability to call security to escort someone out? You are both employees at this company.
Do you think it's a perk that comes with being the champ?
I'm wondering, I'm trying to think back to like, who have we seen do it? We've certainly seen MJF do it, but I think
MJF
we've seen him
wasn't-
do it
Yeah, he
before
wasn't
he was the
champ at that
champ.
He
moment.
wasn't
Yeah.
champ. Yeah. So how do you get the power?
Well, usually
How do
someone's
you-
misbehaving
Yeah.
when security comes to pull them
But
off.
he was just standing there. Like, I
Yeah,
feel like
he
Hook
wasn't.
should have been able to say, guards sees him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know that thing in like when someone tries to like seize like the throne or whatever, and they like it only works so long as they have the guards behind them. And sometimes they'll like seize him, and then the other guy will be like, no, seize him, and the guards will stand between them and be like, I don't know who's in charge right now. I'd love to have that moment where the security guards are like, who are we reporting to?
I believe you're literally describing a scene we recently saw in Battlestar Galactica, a new show that we're all getting into. So we'll be reporting back about that.
I've almost caught up to you guys, so I'm almost ready.
Where are
to
you?
Be there. Middle of season of episode 7.
Oh,
So.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we accidentally started without Anne. We didn't know that it was going to be a thing. But so now Anne has to catch up so the whole crew can proceed together.
Get in there. Yeah.
Something else that I thought was very funny about the security guards is by the time Joe got to commentary, because right after this segment, Joe got on commentary for the next match, and as he sat down, he was like talking, and he was like, anyways, what the hell was that? Who raised that kid? And Taz just cracked up and was like, who raised him indeed?
Wow.
I love that.
I know that Taz is so proud. Obviously, anytime Hook does anything. But when Hook is doing civil disobedience, I know that Taz is proud of that. But again, don't beat up the security guards.
Don't beat up the security guards. Those guys they are just trying to earn a living.
Yeah.
They should unionize for real.
They
get,
really
some
need
kind of
to.
extra pay.
Remember when we thought that they were going to unionize
behind Wardlow?
But then Wardlow just turned on them. Like everybody who ascends the social ladder in capitalism,
right. Yeah.
he immediately put his boot on their heads and kicked them back down into the bucket.
That's right.
So true.
Okay, pig.
You're
anyway,
a pipe bong, and then you're a landlord. Yep, exactly.
Oh, okay. So then Joe got on commentary, which I thought was great. He did a really good job.
He was so good. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was doing some great face acting. And then he was on commentary for the opening match, which was Hangman versus Penta. With Hangman debuting his new in-ring style, he's been working it for a while. It's called Big Mad. He's really fucking bad.
Really verb shit.
Just in a really fucking horrible mood from the moment he shows up at work to the moment he leaves.
And he's fighting so nasty. Like, he's fighting a lot now. And all of his strikes are so mean.
Fighting is so funny, though, because every time it happens, I just think, oh, little kissy. Oh, little kissy for Penta.
And he spent, like, a lot of time going over to, like, glare at Joe and yell at him and stuff in a way that was very charged, I felt like, and I did not expect from them, but I really loved.
They were doing some good close-ups on Joe's face, and he was like doing a good job of like kind of being full of himself, but then occasionally having a moment of like, "Oh, I'm not unmoved by what I'm seeing."
Mm-hmm. So true.
And it's great to like beat up on one man while be like glaring at another man. Like, yeah, you'll get it next, buddy.
That's so true. That is a great way to beat up on one man. On a man, on any man. That's a great way for men to beat each other up. That is so true. When the man that they're beating up is nothing to them, but there's a man nearby who's very much something to them. The only thing that would have been better is if it were Swerve, but it was Joe and it still mattered, you know. Do you think that mustache is intensifying week on week?
Yeah, because it's growing, and he also trimmed the beard back.
Yeah, but I think it's something like he's shaving his beard closer, and the disappearing rest of his hair is making the mustache pop even more. I would not. There's no way that I could describe what's happening that makes it sound attractive, but it could not be more attractive. I'm so into it.
It was so like lush and bushy this week. I mean, it was like forceful. It was coming off his face, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's almost looking like a little. Now, I'm not saying that he's using just for men beard and mustache color, but which I believe may have messed up some men's faces. Am I misremembering that we read something about a class action lawsuit?
Yeah, because it was back when there were those commercials for the one-day beard and brow, where it was like, in what situation do you need beard dye for one day only? Which no one has ever adequately answered to me.
No one has explained it to us. No.
Yeah, but yeah, that's when we found out that it disintegrated people's faces or whatever.
I don't think he's using beard and brow, but it is darkening a little. Like, I think it is just the way he's trimming it back. It's really present, and that's great. And that is so good. Great. So don't change a thing. I mean, continue to experiment, but don't go back. Only go forward, I would say. Okay, so then later in the night, Swerve fought Jeff Hardy. It's a big week for Jeff Hardy, who also fought Darby on Collision this past weekend. I would not have said that Jeff Hardy could do 2 matches a week, but they were both fine.
Whining
they were
lot,
fine.
Though, and this promotion,
but he is heel
proving
turning.
That whining works.
I think it is. I think it is kayfabe, like whatever they're doing. Like, I don't think it's real, but it doesn't mean that I like it. But
no, we don't want to see whining for your heel turn anymore. We've had our fill of it, but I think it is. I think it is a bit. Although, I mean, who fucking knows? Anyway. But so what happened during this match? Oh, whatever. Who cares? Swerve won. The crowd really loved this match. It was fine. We watched it. It was fine. Swerve won, and we cut to a backstage promo with Hangman and Renee. There might have been an ad break. Nobody fact check me about this, okay? We have this backstage promo between Hangman and Renee, which Swerve immediately interrupts, coming off this match like a hot, sweaty, laughing, full of himself. Just immediately launching into like, oh, did you see me out there? I was looking good. I was looking so good. It was such fascinating, genuine excitement almost. Like initially of just like, I know I look good. I wish you had seen my glistening body out there.
He's probably like, I'm always staring at you backstage. Were you staring at me? I hope you were. I put on a show.
It honestly was so transparently. Were you watching? Were you watching? Were you watching?
Did you see someone on Twitter saying that Hangman went and put on a necklace after his match for this promo?
I saw that and I love it. I'm
obsessed. Get fancy. When you know that you're about to get interrupted, it's like, I know you knew. I know you're hanging around near Gorilla or whatever, talking to Renee right after. I know you knew.
Swerve and Hangman are both like, they're doing things with their appearance. We've got this mustache like story happening. And then Swerve this week was wearing like a lavender eyeshadow with some glitter. It was very subtle and attractive. And I was like, he's really exploring the space.
They're peacocking for each other.
Yeah, exactly.
When I was in college, I had a crush on this guy who later became my boyfriend, and I really was looking for opportunities to get to know him. So I used to go sit on this bench after a lecture that he went to every week, and just nearby in case he showed up, and he would come talk to me. And later we dated. So it's actually quite an effective strategy.
That's a classic little college strategy there. So,
my God, it really worked. I skipped class a couple times because we were so busy talking.
Wow.
Young love, am I right? Hangman also so fun. So they immediately get into it. Hangman and Swerve are just, it's like they cannot stop themselves. They're immediately yelling at each other. Hangman yelling, "New year, new me, dumbass."
It was so funny. Leah, I think you said that his energy was like, yeah, well, the jerk store called, and like I rewatched it and that was exactly his energy. It's very much like he wants to fuck Swerve so bad it's making him stupid, because it's just like, that's the worst comeback I've ever heard. Swerve's like, I beat you twice, and Hank was like, new year, new me.
Okay. He stuttered a little bit because he was like, yeah, well, new year, new me, stupid.
Who's doing it like these men?
Nobody.
I want to double back and say Swerve's eye makeup this week. I know you said it, Anne, and I cruised right by it because I was so excited to talk about waiting on the bench in college. I just wanted to go back in time, but looked so nice. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Every week you try new things, and we love to see it. And last week I said maybe a little Bucky Barnes. So this week Swerve said, well, I'll do something a little different. It's not as dark. It's bringing a little color, a little shine, a little glimmer at the corner of the eyes. Like, it kind of looked like you went in and I don't think you did, but who knows? Kind of looks like you went in and did the inner eye, like right by the nose, the way I see the TikTok girlies do it. You looked beautiful.
If Swerve is on makeup TikTok getting tips, I would love that so much. Please. Swerve should have a TikTok where he goes through his process.
Tell us about the look.
God.
Yeah.
We'd like to hear about the look.
You know that TikTok trend of like doing your makeup while reciting like a comedy monologue or something? Yeah, I would fucking love it if Swerve picked some kind of like monologue or like something to recite or like to lip sync to as he's doing his makeup.
Wow.
You guys have to remind me later to send you a TikTok trend that I think that Danny Garcia should do. Great. So this segment ends with Renee breaking the men up and saying, next week you will both have matches, dealer's choice matches, which means that you will choose each other's opponents. The way I popped for this, I was like, finally, someone is giving these men the kind of little mind challenge that they need. You pick each other's opponents. You have to strategize. You have to decide, like, what kind of man do I want my nemesis to fight? Not someone that they're going to hate more than me. Right. Not someone they're going to hate, love more than me. Someone who will kill them, but not the way I would kill them. Someone who will present a challenge, but not the challenge I present.
Right. But you want them to injure them. You want them off balance in some way. They want them to know that this pain they're having came from you at the same time. This proxy pain.
Proxy pain, exactly, Anne.
Yeah, why
you
are
never
they doing
want
these kind
them
of
to forget for a second in that match that you are the one who engineered this situation.
Exactly. Like, I feel like Swerve is being so, like confident and cool all the time. If I were Hangman, I would want him like something that would throw him off and really annoy him. Like, I could see a Max Caster really driving him crazy if he got some burns in. Or you could go with like Keith Lee if Keith Lee would wrestle. But
Max beat him for the tag titles, right? So
yeah, that's right. I almost forgot that.
He's the one who he called Swerve Randall from Monsters Inc.
That's
which unfortunately,
right. Oh my God,
right.
is in my mind at all times.
Yes, get that going at Swerve. That would really. I would love for Max Caster to do the rap while Hangman's like standing right next to him, looking at Swerve, like, listen to this.
Now, do you think that Max Caster would meet this? I'm like, there's another thing you could do this is psychological warfare. You could choose someone who will put up enough of a fight to be like a challenge, but not a good enough fighter to feel that someone would still feel like that's who you think I should be fighting. That's who you think I can handle.
That's true too. Send them a Matt Seidel or Ryan Nemeth, and it's like, okay,
might be in that zone where,
he is a little bit, for singles.
It would just be kind of like, oh, here, I'll give you a little easy win. Like he's not gonna, get on his back immediately, but
so true. He'd make him work for it.
But not as much as he could work for it.
Right. Yeah, you're not throwing a Danielson at him. You're not throwing a Moxley.
Exactly. Oh my God, yeah.
Well, so when you put this on the schedule, I picked who I thought. If I was each one of them.
Oh my God, amazing.
And honestly, if I was Swerve, I would pick Danielson for Hangman. Hangman is insecure about people with big reputations, so he's gonna psych himself out. He's gonna self-sabotage, be miserable, and he's gonna need Swerve to build him back up at his lowest.
Oh, okay.
And if I was Hangman, I would be like, hey, I heard you were really close with someone in WWE. Was Copeland a father figure to you? Was he so important to you? You think you could beat him?
My God, Leah,
that's a good
diabolical.
So that's who I would choose: Danielson and Copeland.
That's so powerful. Pit father against son. That's so powerful. Wow. Well, I can't wait to see what they do. And just to cap it off, how do you think these men would handle bats in their homes?
Bats in their homes?
Capably, I think.
Interesting.
Frankly, I think,
capably.
I think Hangman literally would be able to catch a bat, cup it in his hands, release it out, and then if I'm a little up in the air. I think he would say, the bat didn't bite me. I don't need rabies. I don't need rabies vaccine.
He might responsibly get work gloves.
He might wear work gloves, yeah.
It definitely would be a BTE bit later where like Hangman would be telling people what happened, and like Alex Reynolds would be like, did you get tested for rabies? And Hangman's like, No. I mean, it didn't bite me.
It would have to be someone other than Alex. I refuse to believe that Alex Reynolds would responsibly ask, did you get tested for rabies?
He's the one in the Dark Order with a brain cell.
No, I'm like, Alex Reynolds has rabies. Everyone in the Dark Order has rabies already. They would be like, did you get more rabies for us? We want double rabies.
Well, I agree with you about Hangman. I think Swerve would burn down the house. I think Swerve would be like, okay, see you guys later. Toss a match behind him.
He goes, like, he disappears. He gets in the car. He drives away. He builds a whole new life somewhere else. New life.
Yeah, he's like, I don't live there anymore.
Once the bat's in the toilet, it's like, we got to get rid of this place. House is for sale.
If the bat's in the toilet, I think, but do you think that Swerve might impulsively just flush? Without even thinking any further. It might just be like, oh, no, absolutely no, flush. No, done.
Yeah.
Whatever happens to the pipes.
I never really considered flushing it, but to flush it, you have to get pretty close to the bat situation. I was not feeling cozy with
those wrestlers are fast, though. They slide in, they slide out.
They are.
Yeah, they're quick.
And Swerve has those long arms, too.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay, so let's head over to Tag Team Land. We're going to talk about Sting and Darby, who got an in-ring promo this week, in which Darby gave us a little of his and Sting's backstory at AEW. He extolled Sting's virtues. He led the crowd in a rousing "You've still got it" chant. And then, as I've said here, he proposed that he and Sting should win the tag team belts before Sting retires. Sting, do you agree? He said, Sting, what do you say? And he kind of, it was so cute. Like, he went to give Sting the mic, and then it felt like he couldn't deal with the silence, and he said, it's all you, man, and then gave him the mic again. It's like, yeah, he had the mic. We were in the moment. It's okay. And Sting said, yes to life, yes to love, yes to fighting Ricky and Big Bill. Later, we got a backstage promo with Ricky and Big Bill, who said, sure, they are willing to fight. I would consider this one of their lower energy promos. Kind of the promo, I would say, of men who are not going to be holding those titles for much longer. The match will take place on February 7th. What'd you guys think?
This was so sweet. Like, this is really nice for Sting's retirement, because it really is like he and Darby have been like the thing for the whole time in AEW. And it's like, since we don't have history with him before that, it's like, not to be selfish, but it's like, I don't really care about the rest of his career that much.
This is what I wanted. Like, I mean, I get that, like, he had a whole life and that people know him for things, and Ric Flair's part of it. I mean, not that I'm defending Ric Flair being there, but you know what I mean? But, like, this is what I wanted. I wanted, like, Darby to talk about, like, what Sting has done for him. And I want them to make a little retrospective vid. I want them to make me cry my face out.
I didn't tell you guys this, but when I went looking for, so Leah said this, she was like, can I say this? Leah said, I wish we could watch the first time Sting and Darby met at AEW. And I said, we can. It is possible. But then, because I was like, we can find the episode. But then I was like, well, maybe it's on YouTube. So I started Googling. I'm just, Sting Darby first time AEW. And I found an 1.5 hour long video that started, it was like, the history of Sting and Darby, ... And I was like, oh my God, that's perfect, from AEW. Thank you so much. I didn't know you made this. I click on it, and it was like the history of Sting and Darby and Christian and whoever they were fighting. And I was like, guys, I'm looking for just a romantic, platonic retrospective of what these men have meant to each other. I don't care about it's not about who they've been fighting. It's about what they found in each other. Okay? Yeah. So make that.
You need a classic father lover retrospective, like we've all seen so many times. Like, come on.
It feels like it's somehow related to the mother boy pageant is the area that we're in.
Can we talk about also how Darby said that he, before Sting started, flew to Sting's house and they went to Sting's backyard wrestling ring and rolled around together?
Started rolling around the ring. I said, why did that happen? Can someone explain to me? Maybe we knew more about wrestling when we started watching. We don't remember that much. It's really like a hazy dream when we started watching. Maybe we were told this. But now, in the year 2024, I need to hear again, like, what was up? Like, Tony was arranged marrying it. He's just like, I've hired a new man. Darby, I'd like you to fly to his home.
I think you two might have a lot in common.
I have big dreams for the two of you. Can we do our special activity And so I did find a clip that purports to be, it says, you won't believe what happens when Sting and Darby interact for the first time at AEW. I was like, I think I might believe it, but shall we watch it together? And we'll air this for you, our listeners.
Yeah, we will. And if it doesn't work, we'll just cut it. But also, I just want to say, if any listener out there is willing, I would like a vid for Darby and Sting set to Sawyer Brown's The Walk. So I can cry my face
That's napalm, bitch. That's not safe. That's not safe to feed girls. That isn't safe.
I think I would need to be hospitalized.
I'm putting that in my back pocket.
Wow.
In case I want to incapacitate you. But yeah, if any of our listeners are willing to do it, please step up.
I love the idea of you following up your Young Bucks vid with emotional devastation.
Okay. Oh my God.
Ready?
Take us back. Yeah, take us back. This is this is from like, must be late 2020 or early 2021. Take us back.
Yeah.
This is Sting!
Wow.
Look at Schiavone's little puffer jack vest.
Honestly, I missed that look. He's doing something with his hair now that, I mean, I'm sure it's just
so
to
bad.
hide balding, but I'm like, don't hide it. It's fine. It's fine to bald. Balding is fine.
They don't really do the snow anymore, do they?
The overhead shot.
They still do
The
the
overhead shot.
Yeah.
Well, the snow is kind of only in Florida, isn't it?
To be honest, when they were only at Daly's place, they got like comfortable enough to do some great cinematography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
they
it?
really did. I miss Daly's
Yeah.
place. Look at those tunnels. Look at those beautiful tunnels.
Do you know how many people are like, so why is your podcast named that?
I know.
Like, oh my God.
Why do you record on Thursdays and release on Sundays?
Yes.
It's like,
Because of history.
Well,
Wow, Sting really toned down this look a lot over time.
TNT champion.
Oh my God, I love Tony Schiavone. He looks so sweet.
he looks so sweet.
Now,
And was it Dustin who told us that the snow is actually just like flakes of soap? And then if it gets in your mouth, it's fucked up.
I didn't remember that.
Justin would be out there sticking his tongue out for Sting's snow. I wonder if I think the week before this, we might have seen Darby up in the rafters like Sting used to lurk.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just watching Sting.
Oh, this is when he had TNT belt for the first time.
An uncanny.
Oh, that was
a good time, yeah.
Of TNT belt. Yeah.
Wow. This is, it's funny because it's like in some ways his look hasn't changed that much, but a little bit it has.
But I wish everybody
Yeah.
Oh my God. That is why we called them the original father lovers, because the way Sting is looking at him is
Guys, we
wild.
didn't know what to think. We didn't know what to think.
We did not understand. This settled into just a father-son relationship, but right now Sting's face is uncertain.
Yeah. This was before Darby really moved into the territory of like the way that he interacts with Sting is full teen.
Just reminds me about me.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
and I kind of like it. You know,
I
think
see
you're a
myself
phenomenal wrestler.
in you.
I want to be the first to, in public, congratulate you for being our TNT champ.
Wow.
Ooh, that's nice.
And second, what I want to do is just make sure that everybody understands I wasn't here to interrupt in the match.
The way Darby's looking at him,
that
too.
he had a straight up chance to win. Didn't hold on to his title. That's all
Did
there
he
is.
prevent someone from cheating? Maybe. And this is what I saw a little hint of. R.I.P. Team Taz. Look at Baby Hook.
Oh my God, look at Hook. His hair's so short.
Even honestly, Brian Cage even looks younger there. Well, and worse, and the same. Actually, just the complete same.
Ricky's got his little glasses
I
on.
love those glasses, to be honest. Ricky, I miss you on Team Taz. You were such a little bitch. Complimentary.
Complimentary. All right.
Wow.
I think that was right.
Yeah,
We were right to
I think
watch
we
that.
saw what
amazing.
we needed to
Yeah.
see. Wow.
Yeah.
It is just so great that like they brought Sting in and it's like, yeah, there is a young man here who is just your soulmate and you guys will have a great time. And they did.
They did it.
Yeah.
they did it so perfectly where like in that clip you just see Sting be like, I know you. You know, it's like the part of Hook where like, except reversed, I guess, where like the little kids are touching Hook's face and being like, there you are, Peter. Except like Sting's going, looking. Oh yeah, sorry.
I was like the part of Hook. I don't know who Hook's soulmate is, but I'm interested to learn.
Tell me more.
Danhausen?
Steven Spielberg's Hook.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg's
nice,
classic. We
very
did
nice.
rewatch that recently. Yes, no, now I know what you mean, where they say,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
see,
no,
but then,
totally.
wait a second, that's you.
And that was Sting's face where he's looking at Darby going, I know you.
I know
You're
you.
me.
Oh my God. Wow,
I love that.
It's romance, it's family, it's friendship, it's everything. Thank you, Sting and
Yeah.
Darby,
And-
for our lives.
And Sting really too, like he just, for an old legend wrestling guy, like just doesn't have the kind of ego where he like gets in the way of other people. Like he's just been so good, like supportive of Darby, and you know, like even there just being like, I wanted to congratulate you, whatever.
I know
It's
it's funny because now with years of wrestling behind me, I had a moment of being like, oh my God, it feels like usually he would like then beat him up or something, but actually it was just a healthy relationship for years and years where I think Darby learned a lot and grew emotionally and had the space to act out a lot of his big feelings and know there was somewhere safe to go at the end of the day and someone who would still be there for him. I think that's really beautiful, actually. Thank you for being some of the emotionally healthiest wrestlers in the ring.
Do you remember when Darby said, Sting, I don't even remember who he was facing, where he was like, I have to do this alone. You have to stay home and let me face them. And Sting was like, no, don't. Well, I guess
I can't follow.
but he let him do
do
it,
it.
you know.
Do you remember when Darby defensively said, Sting isn't my dad, he's my best friend.
He's my best friend. It was so funny. It was just like he could not have sounded more like a little kid in that moment. Like,
do you think that if a bat got into Darby's house, he would welcome it and in fact be like,
you get rabies?
Yeah, he would be like, this bat it came for me. It is my bat. I love bat.
yeah,
I think he'd be like,
My
it
son
seemed like
Bat.
it felt like a sign.
It would live in his
It felt like a
bedroom.
sign.
And
Yeah.
potentially Sting might too. I mean, to be honest, Sting
Yeah,
might also be like,
potentially.
yes, this bat.
I
Oh my
feel a
God,
kinship with this
Darby
bat.
is Sting's bat.
Wow.
flapping around his bedroom.
My
and Sting
third
was
eye?
like, yes, I welcome you.
Wide open. I think that Sting would really placidly open a window. You know what I mean? Like I think he'd be like, you do you, little friend. And he'd open a window. And I think if the bat wanted to come in and out, Sting would let it. You know?
Probably.
All right. So Sting and Darby's in-ring promo was at one point intercut with footage of the Bucks backstage watching on monitor with these little earpieces in because, you know, they're running the show.
If it clearly ran long because they had to do the overrun, do you think if something hadn't happened, then they ran long, the Bucks were supposed to interrupt that or no?
Oh, it ran long?
Well, because they had to do a couple minutes overrun, right? So the show ran long. So I'm wondering whether they cut the Bucks actually.
I don't think so. I think
No?
they weren't supposed to. I think they're going to meet. I think they're going to do some kind of promo thing next week. I don't know. But who knows? Maybe.
Who knows?
That was not the first appearance we got from the Bucks in the night. They also got a backstage promo segment in which they were wearing some new mall store prom suits, ill-fitting. And they were kind of wandering around backstage, condescending to various people that they passed on the way, talking about how what did they say? They fixed catering. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
They said to Matt said to Alex Marvez, "Have you been to catering today? We fixed it. You're welcome."
To be
It was
honest,
delicious, wasn't
that
it?
really felt like that's kind of how I think about the backstage. That's the level of understanding I have of the backstage. I'm just like, well, someone's probably got to, sometimes what do you got to do? Fix catering. That felt right.
You know how like in an office, like people will get really mad if like the wrong pens get ordered and stuff. Do you think like wrestlers backstage, it's like if they get the wrong snacks at catering, like people
Oh, I think you
really
could throw
think
off
so.
the whole show.
Yeah.
If certain people don't have what they need.
Wasn't there a BT bit about like them getting really excited, or no, that Kenny got mad at the Bucks for not telling him that the peanut butter cheesecake was back? Like, honest to God, think that is a huge part of the backstage.
I am having a moment where I'm suddenly like envisioning like the backstage of AEW as like its Community, the sitcom, and that's what's happening back there every week.
Yeah, they're like, I did eat all the macaroni. It's messed up that he knows.
Someone's running a little chicken tender racket back there. That feels right. And then the Bucks gave each other a little fist bump because they were so proud of how good a job they're doing as EVPs. I have to say this was a slightly different version of asshole than I thought they were going to be doing based on the sit down promo, because of this thing that they did where it's like they encountered Top Flight and they were like, you got to get here on time, you have to be in your gear, and then they said, but let's have a great show, guys, and they gave them the little fist bump. Immediately I was just like, fuck, the Bucks are so good. They did this little riff on it that's just like, that's so shitty and condescending and like your boss that you hate. It's so much better than just like the kind of blank like baseline like just EVP asshole boss that I feel like people have been putting onto that. They're taking these characters further than I thought they would, and I love it.
One Nation Radio, I think Rich was saying, he was like, the Bucks have this ability to make people forget that wrestling is fake, because so many people in the comments were like, finally, people are finally seeing what the Bucks are like. Buddy.
It's so, imagine having like the level of brain disease where you're like, they've been acting this whole time, but this is their real selves.
Yeah, when they're doing like the hammiest
wake up
too. It's so funny. I know the like self-congratulation part of it really did add just like such a chair, because it is every terrible boss who's like, I'm doing it right now. Like, and the people love me. We have great relationships. Like,
and the fact that like obviously the thing they get accused of a lot, like that they're riffing on a little bit with this character, is like they book themselves into great spots, like it's self-interest. That's what's going on with them. I love that they've built in this element where it's like, no, we want to get a good job on our wrestling report card as EVPs. So we do care about the show being good because it looks good for us. Like it is. Yeah. It's corporate America, baby.
Trish and Sarah said that they need to get back on Twitter and take credit for every single thing that happens in AEW. If it's bad, they spin it for themselves. If it's good, they take complete credit for it.
Oh, that's like, amazing.
Oh, we did this.
That's exactly right.
So funny. Yeah. Pull a little Tony Khan where it's like, if people don't like it, well, it was, Bryan Danielson's really in charge of booking Collisions, so,
The ultimate power move would be for Bryan Danielson to tweet something and the Bucks to tweet, come see me about this. We need to have a talk about this. Brian, we need to have a talk about this.
Who finds
so
Brian?
Oh
it's the Bucks.
Who finds the finder? Who watches the watchman? It's the EVPs, baby. Now, also really notable, we got the return of Alex Marvez doing investigative journalism. Thank you so much. Thank you. He was back in his element. They were pushing him aside like, we have no scoops for you, Alex. He said, my children are starving. They said, nobody cares. We got to have a good show. Good show, Alex. Great.
That was the moment that I was like, oh my God, we are having an impact on the culture.
We know. Should we take a little victory lap? Just,
We got Alex Marvez's job back single-handedly.
I have to say, there was a run of Dynamite this week where I thought, what do you do with the man who got everything? You know what I mean? You're the man who got everything you ever wanted. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we got it all.
Charlie,
top to bottom, just lavender eyeshadow to picking each other's opponents to
little necklace,
these Miami
mustache,
Vice suits.
New year, new me, dumbass. I think we're doing amazing.
Samoa Joe wearing the only well-fitting suit that's ever been on Dynamite.
Where are they getting these suits?
Do you guys agree with me? They have to be renting them. They have to be doing a rent.
I don't know.
I
don't think that these suits cost any more than a pair of
you know what?
to be honest with you.
And that is so true. And I have to say, if Rent the Runway is stocking suits like this, they honestly do. They look like they're dressing for prom in a bad way. but in a perfect way for the characters. I think that Samoa Joe has been wearing the only nice suit I've ever seen in wrestling.
Yeah.
And immediately, of course, Ann and I have both made this clear that we follow the Twitter menswear guy. We love to talk about the Twitter menswear guy. I think about him near constantly now and the things that I've learned from him.
Yeah, every time I see
So
a
I was
suit,
watching Samoa Joe in the ring. I'm like, I need him to do a little soft shoe, a little tap shoe, so I can see how it moves when he's dancing. Because the collar should stay right where it sits. It shouldn't move at all. And his looked like it might not.
It looked great. And honestly, like looking at Samoa Joe's suit compared to every other suit I've ever seen on Dynamite, it reminded me of like America's Next Top Model when they'd like make them pick outfits and stuff. And usually the like model girls, they did not know how to dress at all. And the like quote unquote plus size models who were, you know, like size 12
That's
or whatever.
so true.
Like they were the only ones who knew how to dress. And I was like, oh yeah, because really skinny people, like all clothes just fit them.
Just
So they're
put
like,
anything
I don't
on,
know,
yeah.
whatever. I'm hot. So like, yeah, Samoa Joe, I think is possibly the only one who knows how to dress.
That is a really good point, and that feels really right and real to me. Everybody else is like the suits that we're seeing. It's like when you buy a tablecloth, like a disposable tablecloth for an event. Like that's what these suits look like.
Yeah.
They look like they're
The
meant to be worn for a
wrinkles.
night and thrown out.
The fit, these skinny cuts, they're not working for them.
But again, for
They're
the
working
characters,
for the
they're-
characters.
For the
though,
characters,
yeah.
I was
They-
talking more general. The Young Bucks suits.
Yeah, they're hideous.
Yeah.
They're
But
absolutely
it's-
hideous.
yeah.
every
They're
time.
hideous. Yeah, absolutely. But they sort of had both of them this week. The last week they did not seem like they were both dressed for the same event. This week they were, but
Yeah.
the event was that it was a 90s prom and they were background like friends. You know, like they're not the main couple. They're the they're
right.
the couple's friends who are like dancing
Like
in
real
the
side
background.
characters.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's right.
They're going to be over by the punch bowl for a while in the just like
they make like
talking.
one catty comment to each other about
Yeah.
like the main couple or something. Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, great work from everybody involved, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Okay, let's kick it over to the women's division. So this week on Dynamite, we got a live promo from Gianna and Tony. So they came out, it was kind of a Sundance Film Festival style sit down in their like camp director chairs with Renee Paquette. They delved deeper into some of their shared history, revealing that not only have they been roommates, although I liked specifically that Gianna said, you came and lived in my house.
Yes.
A little lodger situation. Hello.
Little details. Yeah.
Love it. So not only have they been roommates, but they actually have matching ankle tattoos.
That was incredible. That
That was
reveal.
incredible. And it's so important to me that the tattoos are bad.
Yeah.
It is like
Yes.
it is.
You can tell they were
essential.
22 when that
They are
happened.
fuzzy.
Yeah.
They are fuzzy.
They are fuzzy. They're nonsensical. I think it's a duck. It's a badly drawn
God.
duck. And it's so important to me that these girls have carried this ugly tattoo
Yeah.
for years.
The fact is, that says it's real history.
Yes.
Okay, this is the
Yes.
real. You are going back to to
Yes.
the root of your
Yes.
whole deal.
This
Yes.
isn't a friendship of 2 years. You didn't get this tattoo
Yes.
when you were in your 30s. For sure.
This was a dumb decision you made together.
I hope it was on a New Jersey boardwalk.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
Yes. Oh my
Deanna,
Sing it,
Deanna
sister.
said, "Tony, let me show you my turf."
I can show you the world, shimmering splendor. Tell me, princess, when did you last let your heart decide?
They looked at like the book in the tattoo place and they picked that duck out together.
Oh,
Giggling, clutching each other, being like, "Oh my god,
Oh my God.
We'll
Are we
remember
gonna
this
do this?
forever.
Are we really doing this?"
No, we're not. Maybe we are.
Crazy. I fucking love them. So then this promo eventually gave way to some violence. Thank you. I think Leah corrected me. Deanna high kicked Luther. She kicked Luther and little Malay, and then everybody skedaddled. What'd you guys think of the promo?
I loved it, particularly because
Yeah.
Tony did such a good job of telling people off for body shaming
Oh my
Deanna, while also like still staying in character.
Absolutely. I want to
so
be clear.
funny.
Like we popped for this so
So hard. The line you were recently body shamed, which is ridiculous because there's so much more to shame about you. It's so funny.
And the way she delivered it when it was like, I believe you were recently body shamed, which had kind of like the tenure of like, so you've just like bought a house. Like it's like an instructional book. Like, so you've recently been body shamed.
It was so great. It made me feel so like I felt like a warrior for Deanna. I felt like a fucking like, yes, Toni Storm, you're my daughter too. Not that she's never been my daughter, but this really like I just felt so happy about both of them.
I felt so happy. And also Toni needs to keep saying things that confuse men. I will twist your lips so hard. Oh my God. You need an epidural? Like that's for girls.
That was so funny.
That's for girls.
That's for girls. I could not believe it when I heard that. I was just like,
get away with that.
She's getting away with everything because I think that honestly, there are some of these lines that it's like either she's not running them by anyone, and if men heard them, they'd be like, "Is it offensive to tell her not to say that? Do I have to let her say that? Is it her right as a woman in the workplace to say that? I guess I'll say nothing. I guess I'll let her do it. Thank you, Toni, for pushing the limits."
I hope she absolutely is playing it backstage and be like, "Oh, so what is the limits around like female stuff?
So I'm not allowed to talk about women's health? I'm not allowed to talk about women's health.
I hope
now?
she is. God, I can't believe
I support you in everything you do. I support women's rights and women's wrongs.
I would do right now I'm like so high on Toni where I'm like, she can do anything. And it's honestly just because they're keeping these segments so short and doing something different in every single one. It's just so good. And
like they did a split screen in this one, black and white on Toni's half and color on the other. And it was like, it's so dumb, but it was so funny.
But it's so great because Toni is so uninterested in like how she looks. So you can tell like her entire body is like for the joke. She's not holding herself in a way where she thinks she's hot. And one of the people in our group chat today was like, I just think she's I forget what the exact words are. I'm going to murder it. But like, she's reinvigorating what stories women are allowed to tell. And it's like, yes, because in AEW, every single time they've ever gotten close to having a woman tell a story that's not, I'm hot and mad, they've backed away from it. And so like for this, like it's so good for me to be like, neither of those women on this, and to be clear, they are both beautiful.
They're
but like,
absolute
beside the point.
Hunk city, okay?
Hunk city. But you could tell that wasn't important to either of them on the stage.
Yeah.
Like, Deanna gives this vibe where she's like, I absolutely will throw hands in a second. Like, and I won't look pretty while I'm doing it.
It's amazing.
It feels so good to watch. And I think a couple of weeks ago, maybe Allie, you said something about, I forget who, it was like maybe Mariah May or somebody, but it was like a person who's like very, like their presentation is very like, I'm being hot for men kind of, it's like just a bummer. And it's like, because it's like, I'm not mad at the woman. It's like, she's just existing under the patriarchy like all of us, but like looking at her makes me remember that like I too am existing under the patriarchy and it like sucks. So watching women actually just be like really funny and like mean and interacting with each other in a way that like isn't about what men think about it at all just feels like so good.
Yeah. And I will say that since then, like, Mariah May has been doing actually a lot of stuff that I'm like, I think that's so funny and fun and makes me like you way more than I thought I did. Then like, because the initial presentation like just felt like, oh yeah, and women have to be hot in a certain way. But I'm so happy. I feel so high on like a lot of what's going on in the women's division right now, where it just feels like across the board, like just people are just being like weirder and more present and like having more fun. Like it feels really, really, really good. And I know that
they got so much more time this week. It's like we had multiple women's promos and we hadn't even gotten to the women's match yet. And then like the women's match was like not very like storyline-y or whatever, but it's like, I don't care. Like it's, I was like, if we've got storylines, like we can have some random matches like the men have, you know?
Right. I will absolutely be way more forgiving of random matchups when it doesn't feel like that's the only chance they have to get on the show.
Yeah.
Because there were so many promos. It ruled.
Yeah.
I think we can talk about, well, actually, let's quickly look at, so like the other stuff that we saw in the night. So we had the Deanna Tony promo. We had a Taya Valkyrie promo where she was challenging Deanna because she was being like, you can't cut the line. As I said here, see how the rankings create coherence already. So she's like, you can't cut the line for a shot at Tony. And I guess she's doing a gimmick with Johnny TV, a man I honestly really don't believe exists. Like, I'm just like, that doesn't seem right.
I hear from our sisters at Waffly Bollocks that he is in a very funny feud with Dalton Castle right now. And it's unfortunate.
On ROH.
On ROH.
Yeah.
And it is unfortunate that we cannot visit that place because everything I have heard is that it is a very good feud.
It's too bad we are banned from there.
They won't let us in. They don't want to hear what we have to say about it.
Our computers don't get that channel.
We don't get that channel.
Oh my God. Yeah, so that was great, and then we had Thunder Rosa and Red Velvet had a match. We hadn't seen much of them or anything of them in 2023. In Rosa's case, it was Rosa's second singles match since coming back. She fought Queen Aminata on the weekend. Queen Aminata's been getting a push. She fought Chris Statlander on Rampage, and they're doing a storyline Chris is doing a storyline because Stokely wants to become her manager, and she's been holding out against it. But this week she did let him manage her. I think that's right. And Willow was supposed to be in her corner, but Stokely canceled Willow's flight. So then they got backstage, and Willow was like being like, he canceled my flight. And he was being like, so what if I did? And then Chris was like, okay, I'll deal with this later. Like, it's fine. And left with both of them, like with Willow being like, what the fuck do you mean you'll deal with this later when this is clearly this man's fault? Everybody's been doing great. It's storylines.
Yeah.
It's things that are going on. Like,
Yeah.
obviously not all of it. Like, I'm not really sure what's going on with Thunder Rosa psychologically since coming back, but it's just been great. It's been really, really. I mean, the bar's on the floor. The bar's
I know.
in hell,
I was like, there's so much Windows content, and then you count it up, and it's like, well, like 3-4 things, but like that's so much more than we usually get, and and then there's like the Ruby Soho stuff going on with the Jeff Parker storyline. Like, there's just like several storylines, which is nice, and none of them are taking up that much time, but like it's enough that it's got some continuity to it, and I'm interested.
And I really, really, really like. I don't want to sound lectury, but it's like I just want everyone to internalize, like, if like these segments are not that long. A lot of them are so short. Like, even like Deanna and Tony didn't get so much time. Like, it was pretty brief. Like, I know that some people don't like it, but I feel so defensive about it because of what you said earlier, Leah, which we've been saying, which is like they're very short segments, and she does something new every week. She doesn't give you the same speech every week. She adds a new like dimension to the joke every week. Like, I understand that everybody doesn't like it, but like I feel like actually kind of aggro where I'm like, I don't want to hear you complain about it. It's not that much time.
No, and I mean, I think that has also been true of this Stokely Chris thing. Like,
yes,
so Chris is not, God love her, you know, I would die for Chris Statlander. She's a terrible promo giver, and I think she gets.
I love you. I love you forever.
I love you. I would die for you. You're beautiful, and you're amazing, and you're a hunk. But she gets nervous, and so what they've been doing is having Stokely doing things that she can react to.
Yes.
He does a new thing every single time.
Yes.
And the key, it lasts at most 45 seconds.
Yes.
If you give me 45 seconds every episode where somebody is doing something that bounces off the last time, that makes me very happy. And you know, you keep doing that,
quickly you can have my sword. You know how quickly you get my sword under those conditions?
Yes.
Yeah. With the Tony Storms thing too, do you know that story from like, I think it's from Tina Fey's book, where she, like, Amy Poehler was doing a bit like back at the table read or something at Saturday Night Live, and it was like kind of stupid or whatever, and Jimmy Fallon turned to her and said, stop doing that, like, it's not cute, I don't like it. And Amy Poehler's eyes like went black, and she turned to him and said, I don't care if you like it. And like,
oh my God,
that feels like the energy I have for like men getting worked up about Tony Storms. Like, maybe it's not for you.
Maybe it's not for you. Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't need to be cute, okay?
That is
my
my
God.
all-time favorite Amy Poehler story. Like,
it's so good.
It's so good. It's so, like, I love thinking about her head turning around backwards and just yelling at him.
Right.
And it's like, Jimmy Fallon is a man who maybe should have been yelled at a time or two more than he was. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think that's become clear over time. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I'm not saying it. I'm not putting him down completely. I'm not throwing him out with the trash, but
He's not
maybe I
canceled,
am.
but
Am I? I don't know.
He could think about some of his behaviors.
I'm not canceling him, but I might put him in the trash.
Sure.
Anything's possible. We like to see more stuff going on in the women's division. We're happy. We feel happy. Okay. Yeah. So let's move on to talking about the BCC. So this week we had Mox fighting Shane Taylor on Collision, and then Shane Taylor cut a promo. I did not see it. Did you guys see it?
No.
Oh, fuck it. We ball. Then Mox also got a promo on Dynamite. This was one of the most coherent Mox promos I've seen in about a million years. And I love Mox promos. Like, I'm not dissing him. But this one, it was just so clear what was going on the whole way through.
He went to Japan, got his head straight.
This man is giving healthy, wealthy, and wise. He is mentally well. Unlike his friend Bryan Danielson, who is having a full Menti B over the fact that Eddie Kingston beat him at wrestling one time, okay?
One time in his whole career, yeah.
One single time. He has not stopped thinking about it for a second since. He has not stopped talking about it for a second since. He and Claudio cut a promo on Collision because they were going to fight Eddie and Ortiz. And it was just Bryan Danielson raging, being like, Eddie Kingston is worth nothing. He should never have beaten me. It was a fluke. He didn't beat us for real. Like, it's just a fucking fluke.
You were just good on one day. You've got to be good for your whole career, like I have. Like,
it's so funny. It's just like, girl, aren't you a billionaire living in a mansion in wrestling terms? Don't you think that maybe it's okay to let somebody else have one win? And he's like Jeff Bezos being like, no, bankrupt him.
And Claudio's energy in response was so funny because Claudio was like, why are we always talking about Eddie? Why does Eddie follow me everywhere I go? I don't want to talk about Eddie anymore.
20 years talking about Eddie. I'm sick of it. Yeah.
Do you think that's a little to be super topical? Don't you think that's a little bit like in it's the Mean Girls moment where Janice Ian is like, stop talking about Regina George.
Yeah.
That's where Claudio's at.
Yes.
He's like, I want to move on with my life. It's been 20 years. I hear nothing about Eddie. I want to move on. So anyway, then he and Danielson did fight Eddie and Ortiz. They won by pinning Ortiz. Danielson made the crowd call Eddie a bum. He was so mean. He is a cruel, vindictive freak. Okay?
These are the moments that I actually do believe he's a heel, because sometimes I don't, but like these are the moments where I'm like, you're a bad person.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the thing that's so funny about the BCC is that I'm like, fundamentally to me, Mox is a good person. Like, sometimes he is heel aligned because he's having a violence surge, but I'm like, he's not.
But it's not malicious. His violence is just.
It's not malicious.
It's like a bat in your room, It's like they got to fly. They're not coming at you on purpose.
He didn't mean to go in the toilet. Okay, the image of Mox as a bat in the toilet, but he'd be thrashing the whole time.
He'd be thrashing. This bat was much more docile than Mox would have been in my toilet.
Do you think that Mox would try to keep a bat as a pet? Like, maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
Do you think Bryan Danielson definitely would?
Well, he wouldn't keep it as a pet, though, because it needs to be outside.
He'd want to return it to its environment.
You're
so right. He'd want to return it. But
he'd return
Mox
it
would be
while
like,
giving you a lecture on how important they are to the ecosystem.
Do you think that Mox would open the bathroom door, see that there was a bat in the toilet, immediately go, hey, Renee, come here, you want to see something? And then when Renee came and like screamed, he'd be like, it's just a bat. And then like for the rest of the night, he'd follow her around and touch her and be like, oh my God, Renee, it's a bat.
Don't you think, though? I think that Renee is like so like hardy in her mind that she would see it. She'd maybe yelp and then she'd be like, "Oh my God, what is wrong with you? Get out of the toilet!" Like, she would just be like, "Get your life together." She's a little bat. She's a Canadian girl. I think they deal with bats up there. I think they know what they're doing with bats up there.
Yeah, they're at the cottage. There are some bats. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so and then Eddie is in the early stages. It seems like he's going to be driven a little crazy by some of the stuff that is happening to him, namely Bryan Danielson. It's pretty much Bryan Danielson is like, I'm going to make your life a living hell. And Eddie said, that's great. I'll never sleep again. I don't care what happens to me.
Eddie's such a good babyface for making someone a heel because it is like you really believe because like trying to humiliate Eddie is like the worst thing anyone
with
can
you?
do. You know,
Sicko?
Like, yeah,
Derogatory. Do you guys think that this is going to impact the relationships in the BCC? Do you think we're gonna get a BCC breakup in 2024? We are, of course, supposed to get Danielson's retirement from full-time wrestling in 2024. I think.
I think it's time for a BCC breakup.
Yeah.
I would like it, especially with Danielson going to part-time or whatever. It seems like a good time to have some high drama.
I think that the simple fact is that all of you loving doing violence and loving hanging out in a basement can only connect a group of people for so long. Like at a certain point, the ideological differences are going to become apparent. And Danielson's ideological difference of being a full-time mean freak right now should have an impact on his relationships, I think. Because Mox was so happy for Eddie when he won.
I know. And Mox has been in like an interesting space with Eddie for quite a while where it's like he's like mad at him, but he loves him, you know, where it's a very like ambiguous, like Eddie just kind of isn't cooperating with being nice to anyone.
Well, and for a while I really thought I was like, maybe this is going somewhere. But then when he was happy for him when he won the Connie, I was like, I think that I don't know, not that their relationship could never have ups and downs again, but that the baseline is just you drive me fucking crazy, but I'm in it with you forever, ride or die.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Absolutely ride or die. All right. And then let's move on to our final topic. Orange Cassidy got a little backstage promo this week in which he told Renee that 4 very strange men will be fighting each other for the honor of fighting him on Dynamite next week. He delivered this information.
He said he wanted Tony Khan to gather some of his friends and his enemies and some of his friends' sort of enemies. But then the list of men was just
men. It's just men. You know what you could have said? I asked Tony Khan to gather some men to fight.
The randomest group he could find with little to no relationship with me. I mean, Kip Sabian and the Butcher, sure, but...
You could have just said, Tony, could I get a pick and mix of men? That's what I'm looking for.
Tony, just pick them out of a hat. Who gives a shit?
I it's the opposite of guard sees them. He's sitting back in the throne Tony, bring me some men.
Bring me men. Bring me men and let's make merry. Later, OC also came out with, he came out for Greg's match versus Wardlow. So this was Greg/Trent with OC, Chuck, and Rocky ringside along with Adam Cole and the Kingdom ringside for Wardlow. Wardlow did win. Well, no. You know what? Let's start here. Greg was wearing his bib again. Can we talk about Greg's bib?
Why? Why does he wear that?
It's he's cut.
It's so crazy.
He's been cutting the tank top down and down and down to show off his arms and shoulders until it doesn't connect anymore, and now it just flops around. But why?
It looks like a garment that he only wears that he only owns so he can wear it when his mom is giving him a haircut so he doesn't get hair on his neck. That's the only... Why is this happening? Greg, I love you so much. I'd die for you. Why are you wearing a bib every week on live TV? It's so funny. Look, and it's the neck is still so tight. Often when they trim their shirts to make a tank, Dustin loves to do that low neck, so it's just your nips out. I mean, I wish I saw it more, Dustin. To be honest, I'd love to see your nipple a little more, but Greg, it's still that tight little neckline, and then it's just flapping in the wind.
And why? To wear it once might be an accident, but twice seems like carelessness, you know?
So true, Oscar. Yeah, so we don't know why Greg is arraying himself that way, but then he lost to Wardlow. And now, Leah, do you want to read what your man said this week?
It wasn't my lover Eric Beeston. It was the B player. Who's completely,
nothing
normal.
to you.
No, he's nothing to me. But this time, he did make me extremely angry because this quote, I stopped dead and was like, what the fuck? He said, even though Wardlow had a huge power advantage, he also had the upper hand outside the ring with the entire undisputed kingdom by his side. All Beretta had was an injured Chuck Taylor, Rocky Romero, and Orange Cassidy for backup. Okay, Adam Cole is also injured.
Adam Cole is more injured than Dustin. Dustin doesn't have a little splint on his foot.
He wasn't even pretending to limp this week. Yeah.
Go to hell. This is degrading.
Incredible hell.
I mean, the fact that Greg had to lose to Wardlow at all, it's like, and this on top of it, give me a break.
It's sickening because Manolo also was talking about this and being like, and that really built Wardlow up as a power player and like blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, to be honest, Wardlow is always having to be built and never building himself. I'm sorry, not to be cruel, but Greg is actually one of Tony Khan's specialist boys. Yeah. And I don't think
he's had half the chances that Wardlow has, and he does way more with the chances.
He's made the most of them. I don't think he should ever have lost to a nasty little beef man like Wardlow. But he did, and then Wardlow immediately began body slamming him, which is again offensive, and like he doesn't respect Greg. It's disrespectful. So then everyone had to slide into the ring. Orange Cassidy, injured Chuck Taylor, Rocky Romero, who goes here full time now. They're all going to slide into the ring to get Wardlow.
Like it's like you're playing with the neighbor kids, but like the next door neighbor, like their cousin is just in town, like kind of a lot, and you don't understand like why he's here so much. But like no one ever is like, oh, you know, Rocky's going to be here. It's just like he just shows up. And you're like, okay.
At a certain point, you're like, does Rocky have a bedroom in this house?
Right?
Does Rocky live here? And then you're not supposed to ask questions like that for some reason.
It's like, is something going on with Rocky's parents? Like, is it on the rocks? Like,
from what I've heard, the answer is yes. The answer is that quite a lot's been going on with Rocky's parents over in
having
Japan.
some issues. Yeah.
Having some issues. All right. So then they had to kind of scare him off. And then Greg was really, really mad, which is understandable, Greggy. Yeah. Honestly, we're really mad too. He's really mad that he lost to Wardlow. So he did push Orange Cassidy. And so my recapper, Manolo, said, one thing to keep an eye on, Trent shoved Orange Cassidy out of frustration after the match. Best friends squashed the incident, but this is another breadcrumb on the trail of tension from Trent. I want to say something. If I were following breadcrumbs from a member of Best Friends, like into the woods trying to get somewhere, the place I would get is lost. Like nowhere. Lost.
Yeah.
Because other side of the woods, no way. I'd be in a pit.
One breadcrumb for every like quarter mile. And also the lesson of breadcrumbs is that they're not a good trail because the birds eat them. You got to use rocks.
And it is like sometimes you'd be like, I found a breadcrumb, and then you look at it later, you're like, that was an acorn. That was not bread.
I think someone else was just eating an acorn here. Yeah,
that was a koosh ball.
Dustin's eating a baguette in a promo for some reason. Some crumbs fell, but it wasn't meaningful crumbs.
Dustin later he's so like, can't believe how stupid you are. He's just like, you followed my I was eating a sandwich. I was just having a sandwich. Like, you shouldn't follow that. Eating a sandwich, then threw the sandwich away. Birds ate the sandwich. They take the crumbs places.
And now you're mad you just got led to a trash can? Like, okay, I don't think that's my fault.
Why would you follow me into the forest? What's wrong with you? I didn't ask you to follow me in the forest. In fact, I tried to run away.
We're like, because we like you. He says, don't. Stop.
I have done everything I can to discourage you from following me into this forest.
I can't be more clear. I'm not interested in having fans. Okay?
And I don't know why he wouldn't be interested. When we say the kind of beautiful things that we say about him and his body and what we think about it, I don't see why he wouldn't welcome that into his life.
This week on ONR, James is like, I'm sorry to the Tunnel Talk girls, but I have to say this.
No.
Best friends are never going to get a belt. And I was like, of course they're never going to get a belt.
Of course we know that.
Don't you think we live with the indignity of that knowledge every day?
Every day we wake up.
Every day.
We wake up and we open our eyes and we know they will never get a belt. And then we just have to go to work.
What choice do we have but to still say things like give best friends the bells? We know that would usher in a utopia, a golden age that had never been seen before, would never be seen again. We know that would fix everything. We know it would fix everything. We know it won't happen. We know it will never happen.
Everyone would be like, the feeling's back. The ratings would be incredible. Merch sales, ticket sales.
Morale backstage would be at an all-time high. And morale in my home? Through the roof. It wouldn't be the bleak midwinter here anymore. It would be the party summer, baby. I'm dancing.
It It would be summer of my mental health, yeah.
The dopamine levels, it'd be 10 times any cold shower we could ever take.
Dopamine, serotonin, blasting the roof off.
It would be capturing a bat in a Tupperware every day.
Capturing a bat in a Tupperware. It'd be sending a message to your work team to say, hey guys, sorry I'm going to miss our 1 p.m. meeting with Sebastian. I have to drive a lab bat in Tupperware to the health department, which is some message I sent yesterday.
It would be like that every minute
every day.
of every day.
Every day.
But we know it never will be.
It never will
Don't be cruel to us. Be kind to us. Don't be
Tell us, girls, someday, maybe.
Yeah, James. Tell us maybe someday.
Hey, James, could you just say to us, I won't move the football this time. I won't take the football away this time, girls. I'll let you kick it this time. We'll believe you. Yeah. Let us believe you.
That's all we have.
My God.
Those moments before the football gets chipped away, those are precious moments for us.
They move so slow, luxuriously slow. You think everything is going to be okay. Jenny Holzer is right. You can go along for so long in those moments. Okay. Anyway, do you think best friends are going to heel turn? Do you think that this is the only thing I want to say, actually, okay? Every single member of Best Friends has given us heel turn vibes that some recap or whatever has been like, keep your eye on. At some point in the past 2 years, Orange Cassidy, corrupted by the bell. Trent, corrupted by being annoyed at Orange Cassidy. Dustin just likes having a chainsaw in his hands. Chris is being seduced by Stokely Hathaway. Of course, this team could heel turn. Should we be reading anything into anything they do? A. And okay. All I want to say is that it should all for one and one for all. Okay? I don't want to see any member of this group turning on the other members of this group and doing something without them. I want to see you sit down and you have a group vote. We're going to be bad guys or we're going to be good guys. If you're bad guys, you're allowed to push each other and be mean to each other more than you are now. You do not break up this group.
Yeah. You get Barry Bloom together. You negotiate.
Thread.
Yeah. If Best Friends breaks up for any reason, we are the bat.
We're out.
We're in the
we're out.
We're
the bat in the toilet.
That'll be the last fucking straw.
We're in a Tupperware.
You are tuning into a supernatural Bible podcast from then on because that is the end for me.
A supernatural Bible podcast would be so funny.
It's just me telling you guys plots of supernatural.
Like the ones that relate to like when they go to war on God or whatever. And then I'm like, here's a Bible passage that's sort of related. And then we discuss that.
That would be helpful because I've read a lot of things about supernatural where I didn't understand if they made it up or if it was from the Bible. Anyway, so at the end of the day, Wardlow sucks. Never break up, Best Friends. They can turn heel if they want to. They can do anything they want to. They could kill a man. Is that no, they can't kill anyone.
Are you no, I think they could. That'd be fun.
Okay, great.
They could kill Brandon Cutler.
Yeah.
They can kill Brandon Cutler. They can do anything they want. Don't break them up. That's all. That's all I gotta say. You know what? At this stage in the game, if they're just eating sandwiches and it doesn't go anywhere, that's fine. We're so limp to it at this point.
I mean, I was just happy that they all came out to support Greg in his match because so often lately it's been like OC coming out with like Hook for no reason and you're just like, okay, cool. I'll just go die then. That's fine.
This is so troubling. I completely missed Orange Cassidy. Like at a certain point I was like, when did he get out there? And everyone was like, he came out with them. I was like, I didn't see him.
I was rewatching stuff and I looked because you had said that. And actually he like, when he comes out, he's kind of like the angle, like he's blocked by like Greg's body and then because he's kind of behind them. So he wasn't.
That's good to hear. That makes me feel better. Okay, well, my energy levels got so high for a minute.
It's hard to wrap things up at this point. Yeah.
Woo. Did I fail to bring up anything you really wanted to talk about?
What do you think Dustin would do with a bat in the house?
Oh my God. I think
he'd shriek,
non-zero chance he'd make someone else deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't you see that?
Probably OC.
he like they're not living together anymore, but he'd call OC and be like, "Hey, I've got a real situation over here."
There's a bat in the toilet.
There's a bat in the toilet. So
Do you think Dustin would ever mislead someone, like would mislead Orange Cassidy to get him over to deal with the bat? Like, would he say something like, I have a present for you, or I just want to hang out really bad, and then when OC gets over there, it's just like, there's bat in the toilet.
And then
I
later,
need you to deal with the bat in the toilet.
Yeah, we can totally play Settlers of Catan, but can you take a look at something for me in the bathroom?
and then later, when they're telling this story to someone else, OC's like, yeah, and he got me over here under false premises, and Dustin is like completely unrepentant.
It's like, yeah.
He's
Oh
like,
yeah,
I
he's
did
just
do
like,
that.
well, what was I gonna do?
What was I going to do with that bat?
There's a bat.
What was I gonna do? I love the idea. I would love to get to listen to Chuck Taylor be like, the one thing I miss about living with OC, built-in bat control.
Bat control.
Built-in bat control.
He did make me get tested for rabies, but he didn't take care of the bats.
I think that OC, real life OC, I think he would make
Yeah,
Dustin get tested for rabies.
Yeah.
Did
Like,
he install something in his house, like a bidet?
It was
Yeah.
a bidet, yeah.
Amazing.
Well, I have a bidet as well, actually, and they're very luxurious.
And did you get Orange Cassidy to install that?
I
for you?
installed it myself, actually.
Wow. She's
Yeah.
a powerful woman.
I don't have OC on speed dial, so I installed it myself, actually.
It's like I had to take care of that bat myself. I would have loved to call OC to come take care
Oh
of
my
it.
God. We'd all
Ladies
love
be
to call
doing
OC. Unfortunately, Chuck Taylor's the only one who's allowed to call OC to come deal with a bat in his toilet. So on that note, I've been Allie.
I've been Ann.
And I've been Leah.
This is really tunnel talk.
I think
tunnel
that this
talk.
was the most tunnel talk episode in a long time.
This was the Tunnelist Talk. Our theme is by Chris Gorkin. You can find us on Twitter at Tunnel Talk Pod, Tumblr Tunnel Talk Pod, via email tunneltalkpod@gmail.com. You can find us on our channel on the Social Suplex Discord. Please rate, review, and subscribe to us on the Social Suplex Network feed or wherever that would be also on your podcast. So just subscribe to us somewhere, wherever you find us. If you Google us, you'll find us. Subscribe to us there and come back next week.